Welcome back, everybody, to Blast the Process 2. I am your host, Kick-Ass Pancakes, and with me we have Leracos and that numbers guy with Gauntlet 4. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Doing pretty good.
All right, sounds good. Take it away. Would you prefer me count you down, or do you want to count down the timer?
We'll go ahead and count it down because we started a little bit of an obtuse time here for the timer.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Just let me know when you're ready.
All right, and like you said, I'm Leracos. I run the game. That numbers guy will be doing my commentary here.
Yep, hello. I helped route a lot of the game, and I also have been working on the task for like over a year. It's still not done. So.
All right, so as the category states, we're going to do quest mode, good ending. First thing we do is we just switch over to JP, and then I'm going to let numbers take it away here with the rest.
Yeah, so we switch into JP because there's some cutscenes and text boxes that are faster. And then right off the bat, we actually have some real speed tech. So he's going to select his character in the continue menu, type in a name, and then because the continue menu is coded to handle multiplayer, it will prompt him if he wants to enter a password. If he selects no, it immediately spawns him in the game with a fresh character and nothing completed, but it skips a 45-second opening cutscene. So yeah, it's quite a large time save right here.
All right.
So yeah, and
yep, I'll go ahead and count it down here. I'm going to push the button in 3, 2, 1, start time.
there it goes.
Yeah?
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't expecting that delay. Okay, so right off the bat here, Leracos is going to be heading to grab an item called Float Ring, which he will be using to speed up a lot of stages throughout this run. But while he's working on this initial thing, I want to talk a little bit about Gauntlet 4, what it is, some of the mechanics. So Gauntlet 4 is a port of Gauntlet Arcade for the Sega Genesis, but in addition to just being an actual port, they added Quest Mode, which is a campaign mode. It's actually the first Gauntlet campaign mode. In a way, this is the first modern Gauntlet. So the goal of campaign mode is to clear 4 elemental towers and defeat the dragons at the top, and that opens up a final tower, and then you clear that and defeat 1 more dragon, and then you beat the game. So each floor of the tower is a maze. You navigate through it and hit trap tiles to open up sections of wall to access more of the floor, and then additionally it's a maze in 3 dimensions, because those stairs, you can see one on screen right now, the little arrows, those will take you to a floor above or below you, and where you go on that floor is the same XY position as where you leave. So the routing for that was rather complicated, and we found what we believe to be the fastest route through. There's a few other tile types that we'll get to. So what he's doing right now is he's gone back to the lobby to pick up a warp wing. This is one thing that is actually changed because of that cutscene skip.
You're wrong exited.
Normally. Sorry?
I wrong exited.
Oh yeah. Every once in a while he goes left instead of up here. It's not a big time save. But I'll explain the cutscene skip, some of the ramifications there. Oh yeah, and he does go a little bit out of his way here to pick up some potions, and you'll see that throughout the run where he may take a few seconds, or even potentially a little bit longer than that, to go out of the way to pick up potions or keys, where that's available then, and he's going to need it later, and it saves a considerable amount of time. You'll see those bomb potions are extremely powerful, and a lot of the routing of this game is based around having enough of those to clear certain areas quickly. Yeah, so I was talking about the Warp Wing. It allows you to immediately exit to the lobby by using it. It's a one-time use item. With the cutscene, normally you would grab one by talking to the merchant before you enter the tower, and he'll give you a few lines of dialogue about the plot, and then give you that one for free. But with the cutscene skip, that's one of the things that just doesn't happen. The game is in a bit of a state that it doesn't expect. There are some other side effects, but none of them really have any impact on the run. So at this point, he has now hit all of the traps that are required to go grab the float ring. So I should probably tell you what it is. So the float ring is an item that you can equip. So the Gauntlet 4 has RPG mechanics, so there's equipment. And float ring allows you to float over teleporters and trap tiles, as well as these slow tiles. The most important one being the teleporters. There's a lot of places where instead of hitting a teleporter and teleporting somewhere, we float over and save tons of time. But it also allows you to speed up in Earth Tower by skipping these slow tiles. And every tower has its own gimmick tiles. So Earth is slow tiles, and we'll talk about the gimmicks of the other towers as we get to them. And slow tiles just make you walk really slowly, which is sad for a speedrun. So we use float ring, and that actually saves quite a bit of time. This section is really tricky. You have to use float ring, otherwise it takes forever. But if you touch any of those stairs, you get launched back down to the previous section, and you have to go around, and it's quite bad. It loses between 30 seconds and a minute, depending on where you hit the stairs. I'm losing video here. Okay, it's back. Sorry about that. So in this section here, we previously would only have 2 potions coming in here in the old route. But because Leracos went over and picked up those 2 extra potions, he can use 1 here and at the end, and it actually trivializes a large chunk of RNG and makes it much easier to get through here. So yeah, RNG will be a recurring theme throughout this run. We will... there we go, sorry. Okay. Yeah, my video's like freezing periodically, but it's fine. So at this stage is the first stage where he can level up. At the end of the previous stage, you would have seen he grabbed a trap that he didn't actually need to complete the stage. When you grab traps and complete a stage, you gain golden experience based on the number of traps that you hit. So if he hadn't hit that trap, he would not have enough to level up his speed point there. So he levels it up early, saves a little bit of time. And then stage 5 is the first occurrence of actually using the float ring for something. Oh, I'm way behind now. Yeah, so stage 5 is the... Leracos, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Where are you actually in game?
I'm at 4. Earth 4.
All over the place. Yeah, I'm seeing your video kind of teleport around in 5. I'm not sure what's going on.
It sounds like maybe there's some stream delay.
No, it's like freezing and then jumping forward. Luckily 4 was slight downtime on our notes. There's not a ton to talk about here. I was going to start talking about some of the RNG management that you have to do in the run. There are some strats that you can do which are slightly faster but rely on near perfect RNG. In fact, almost every stage has some kind of slightly faster way of doing it if you had perfect RNG. But unfortunately, you're never going to get all of that in a run, so in a lot of places you have to do things to kind of slightly reduce the RNG just to be able to finish a run. So that where he shoots that spawner in the middle, in theory, he could just run to one side and back without it spawning anything, but by shooting, those are very high-level enemies, so it wastes a lot of time if they spawn. So by spending a little bit of time to shoot them, you get a little bit more consistency. So this stage, I'm seeing Earth 3. So
yeah.
Earth 3 is okay, good, I'm back up to live. The stage is fairly straightforward until the end. There's a pretty sweet trick at the end, which I found when I was working on the tasks and didn't expect that people would actually try to do RTA. So I'll talk about it if he gets it. And he got it. So what that trick was is, you can't really see it, but he enables the float ring, floats most of the way over a trap, and then disables float ring to hit the trap at the last possible moment. If you just run straight through there, you're not fast enough to get between those 2 deaths before they try to move, and they'll stop you. Deaths are those black hooded figures. You can't attack them, you can't shoot them, you can only kill them with magic, and if you don't use magic to kill them, they will drain 200 of your life very slowly and with a loud noise, and then they die. So by putting yourself forward just enough before they spawn. Oh, and now you're just jumped to the end of 2. So there's a dragon coming up, and there's a trick that he's going to do. I'll be quiet and let him focus on it.
Dang, no quick kills today.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay, so where he's standing, you are very much not supposed to stand. So you might notice he's getting pushed into that back corner. That's because the entire dragon hitbox, like every piece of the dragon hitbox, tries to push you away from it. But the hurt box on the dragon that actually damages you is slightly smaller than the pusher. If it was slightly larger, we would be taking 100 damage per frame, and you would basically die instantly. So that there was a bit of an oversight. If you load from the right side instead of from the middle, there's enough gap before the dragon AI kicks in to run back into that corner. And that pretty much trivializes the first 2 dragon fights. After the first 2, they have a attack which spreads their wings out and would basically instantly kill you, so there's a different strategy for those. Also, the pop-up that just happened, you may have heard extra magic power. Each tower gives you an upgrade to one of your stats. So you just get an extra 2 points. He's going to talk to the merchant here to get a heal drink. That kind of cutscene there where you got some dialogue and then a free item is what we would have done at the beginning, but instead we had to waste a little bit of time coming back out to buy it. But overall, compared to the length of the cutscene, it still works out to a pretty significant time save. Like, I believe it's like 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds. Okay, wind. So wind is where runs go to die. So wind is incredibly RNG heavy. So the gimmick tile in wind is called the stream tile. Every 2 frames while you are standing on a stream tile, it applies a random bump of movement to your character. It's a very small bump, but because it's applied every 2 frames, if some number of sequential frames are in the same direction, you actually get a very large bump. And so a lot of wind is dealing with how do you even fight things when you can't stand in one place. But believe it or not, the stream tile, as obnoxious as that RNG is, that's not actually the worst RNG. The worst RNG is still to come, so you can look forward to that. But yeah, you should be able to notice while he's walking through these sections, which have the kind of that pattern where he's standing right now, at least on mine. It says stream tile on the right as well. Those tiles, you should be able to see the movement. And as long as he's moving and it's being nice to him, it's not incredibly obvious. But sometimes they can be really, really bad and just shove you in completely the wrong direction. Here's another example of RNG management. So because there's these stream tiles here, in theory you could just try to run through there and fight all of those guys, and it would take about the same amount of time, or it's a little, and you save a potion. But if any of the stream tiles misbehave all the way through there, then you lose a lot of time and take more damage. So he uses a bomb there at the beginning. Like I said, bombs are pretty precious resources, but he uses a bomb there at the beginning, and likewise bombs in this area, just to reduce, you know, make it more manageable and save time. It's quite difficult to tell sometimes where a bomb is going to save the most time. That's probably the most complicated piece of the routing in this game. Just the bomb management in general. And I didn't even see the beginning of the stage, but he got good RNG first try. Congrats, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's the first time tonight that's happened, so...
Yeah, it is. So Wind 5 is the first of 2 stages that have RNG that will end your run. That teleporter can take you to the outside, and you lose minutes trying to go around and fighting things. But if it takes you to the inside, it's just free, and it's a 50-50 shot. It's random. The way the teleporters work is when there's not much going on in the stage, so I'll explain that. The way that the teleporters work is when you step on them, it looks to see what other teleporters are nearby. If there's one teleporter that is decidedly the nearest teleporter, it will take you there. But if there's multiple teleporters that are equidistant, it is pure RNG which one it takes you to. And so if you're trying to go between 2 teleporters that have, say, 3 teleporters in a cluster, it's a 50-50 chance if you go to the one that you want. And wind is by far the place that is the worst in the run. this stage is incredibly punishing because of these stream tiles. So he's going to level up magic here to get an extra point, just to be able to make sure that he screen clears. And he saves a bomb there and also make sure that everything on screen dies. If you don't kill everything in the middle with magic, there's a really strong chance that those stream tiles will push you away and you'll take a ton of damage. And at this point, you can't really afford to be taking extra damage. You didn't get wizard bypass, or I don't know what we're calling that.
I call it sorcerer skip.
Sorcerer skip, okay. Yeah, there's a little, when he tried to walk past those. Oh, you're all the way at the merchant? Okay. I jumped ahead again. So here he bought the chainmail. He gets +1 speed from that item, costs 2k gold. He also healed and bought a new potion. So his anytime he has access to a merchant, pretty much in this run, he's going to be healing and purchasing a new heal drink. In an actual like record attempt, you may not do that, but it is incredibly more risky, and most of those runs are going to die because you just take too much damage. So to make sure that he can actually finish the run, he's going to be playing it a lot safer with health. You only lose like less than 20 seconds over the course of the run to that kind of menuing if you're fast. Okay, win 9. This is the second instance of terrible RNG, and I'm gonna, yeah, I can't actually see it, so I'll listen to him count them out.
Of course, you wait for me to count them on the one run that I don't count them on.
Oh.
I did get good RNG though.
Oh, nice. All 3?
Oh,
yep.
Second try on one of them, but the other 2 went well.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
grab some safety health here too before I go fight this dragon.
Yeah. So there's in the corners there's health. This dragon there's an RNG aspect to it, and it can just kill you even if you're at full health and have an available potion. So he's gonna make extra sure that he's safe by getting some extra health here. Normally you would just risk it, but again, dying would waste a lot of time, and it's wasting a lot less time to just go grab the health.
So on this dragon, I have a little bit more trouble staying in that one position because of the stream tiles. You saw me get the quick kill on the Earth Dragon on one phase. That's a lot harder to do here because these stream tiles will like to push me forward, and I can't actually hit if I'm all the way up on that bottom corner.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to figure out exactly where you were in the dragon fight. Yeah, so the stream tiles in the dragon fight are actually the reason we do Wind Tower second. The potion routing would make more sense to do Fire Tower second, because Fire has an abundance of potions that you can then use to make the rest of the towers after it faster. But we cannot do the quick kill strat that we use for the second and third elemental dragon on Wind Dragon, because it's a pixel precise trick that requires you to stay in one position, and the tiles would push you around. Good kill. From what I saw of that looked like a pretty good fight as well.
Yeah, that felt like a pretty good one. If I had a couple extra hits, I could have done it without the heal drink, but it's good that I at least have it.
So here in this lobby, I had a note there. I deleted it. I believe you purchased something in that lobby, right?
No, not yet.
Okay, never mind then. Sorry about that. Yeah, so this is Fire. The gimmick tile in Fire is it just damages you. All of the other ones have to do with, movement. This one is like, no, it just hurts you, and it hurts you a lot. So you'll notice even by just the third stage, his health is going to be significantly lower than it has been in the previous stages, in the previous towers, even though he's fought far fewer enemies and should have taken less damage. And that's just because he has to walk over these damaging tiles that do lots of damage. Also, the enemies now have really started to scale. He's on the 3rd tower. Every time you complete a tower, the enemies become more difficult, and he is severely under-leveled at this point. The game is balanced, assuming that you're going to basically play completionist and hit all 36 traps in every tower, and the most traps that we hit in any individual tower is around 20, and the fewest is around 15. So he has significantly less experience than the game expects. He's put no points into health because he's focusing on stats that make it go faster, and as a result, he has to be very, very careful not to take too much damage, and yeah, this is where the game starts to really look as punishing as it is in terms of the enemies. There's all of these potions here, and that's what I said when I said fire has an abundance of potions. Oh, you have extra keys. Oh, you went for it anyway, and you got it. So that's a strat that I really, really like right there that he did. If you only have one key, you can save like a couple seconds by shooting that block and squeezing through the 1 pixel gap between the door and the wall. And you have to do that in both directions. There is a setup for it, so it's not as bad as it sounds. But it only saves like a second, but it looks really cool. And he didn't actually have to go for it, but he did anyway, which, thanks.
Of course, always need those swag strats, you know?
And here, yeah, here his health is actually pretty good. Can't see. But yeah, he's gonna heal and buy a new one again. Because he's gonna eat all of those ghosts right there. Which is, you know, you saw he just took around 500 or 400 damage just all at once. So this floor itself is fairly straightforward, but coming up is the first example of non-linear routing. So he's gonna go into Fire 7, hit 1 trap, go straight back to Fire 6, and then take a different exit to Fire 7, skipping basically all of Fire 7 by taking that path. There's a whole middle section that we never touch. In fact, it also skips most of Fire 8, taking this path. Lincoln, you'll miss it. Lincoln, I'm probably gonna miss it. Yep, I did miss it. Yeah, so this is Fire 9. This is one of the first really actually complicated individual stages. You'll notice that he's going to be focusing a lot more on clearing every spawner out, making sure that there's nothing on screen. This is because this stage has a ton of backtracking, and he doesn't want to have to fight through enemies every time he revisits a section. So he's going to be killing all of these spawners. There's also some well-placed potions to speed that up. But if you didn't do that, you would have to fight all of the monsters that spawn from all of those spawners multiple times as you go through the stage. So it's well worth slowing down and making sure that it's all cleaned out. I see you did not hit the danger fence. So that fence right there, if he touches that, that exposes an extremely high level spawner, which would take him a while to kill and also would be spawning very dangerous ghosts. So he really does not want to touch that fence. I believe that is the last trap. Yeah, that looks like the last trap. So coming up is the first instance of what is easily the hardest trick in this game. So I'm just gonna be quiet, let him do it. When it's done, I'll explain. Good luck, man.
Thank you. First try. Awesome. Alright, so I'm going to explain what happens here. When you get close enough to the dragon, he's got this breath attack that you're seeing him shoot at me right now. That attack is designed with knockback, and it does about 100 damage per frame, so that you don't get that close to him. It's coded a little bit strangely, though, because there's about a 3-pixel window where you can stand close enough to him that he activates the breath attack, but it won't actually damage you or push you back. This is important because when he's doing the breath attack, he won't actually do any other attacks that can damage me. He will just sit there and take it to the face.
And it's hard to overstate how precise and difficult this trick is. There's a 3-pixel window, but your character doesn't move a consistent number of pixels per frame. So he's pause buffering, he's lining himself up in that cutscene to a specific pixel, looking at where he is, pause buffering a down input because he wants to be able to move on the first possible frame, and then stopping on the correct frame. And also if he messes it up and sticks around for too long, he takes a ton of damage. It's incredible. Like, good job, man.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have first try dragons.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. To give you an idea of how much time that saves over fighting that dragon normally, he could miss that 5 or 6 times and still save time. So here he's gonna buy the Knight Shield. It's our second piece of equipment. It's gonna give him +2 speed. So he's already dunked all of the experience points that he's going to into speed, and that's just an extra 2 from equipment. So you can definitely tell by this point that he's moving quite a bit faster than he was at the beginning. This is also where the game becomes a little bit difficult to control. Kind of getting into one-tile gaps and cornering doesn't work very well at this speed level.
As you saw right there.
Yes. So this is Water Tower. The gimmick tile in Water Tower is the slip tile. It's essentially ice physics. It's actually the exact same ice physics as the float ring. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's the exact same ice physics as the float ring. So if you're already familiar with using the float ring, then you should be pretty familiar with navigating these. But also, the higher your speed is, the worse the ice behaves. I call it ice physics, but it's much slipperier than ice. Your character has a ton of momentum. There's a neat little trick right here that he uses. So he uses that teleporter to set himself up on the diagonal to hit that trap. If you don't have something to wedge yourself up against, setting up on diagonals like that is actually very difficult. Again, because as I mentioned, you don't actually move at the same number of pixels every frame. It kind of cycles back and forth to give you an average value. So it can be very difficult to predict with, the same length of input how many pixels you're actually going to move. So this is another very RNG heavy floor. So we'll see how this goes. Got that first try, very nice.
I am way ahead on health too.
Yeah, so that was excellent RNG. That was nearly perfect. That last one was only, what, 2 tries? Yeah, and your health is also excellent. It's been a very good water so far. Typically, you want to leave it with around 600 health there, and he was able to tank a bunch of ghosts and still have more than 600 left. There's a bit more RNG coming up on this stage, so these in the middle, again, equidistant from each other. Just kind of gotta wait till the RNG decides to put you where you want to go. That wasn't too bad. We definitely saw it be much worse in practice. And then Water 4 is going to be where he's going to hit the Merchant. So he's going to heal here because he knows he's got a Merchant coming up where he can easily purchase the heal drink again. Yeah, there's some of the chests are evil chests, as you may have noticed. Oh yeah, so this section that he's doing, well, he's probably already done with it. He's trying to avoid as many of those grunts as he can. It looked like it went fairly well to me.
Yeah, that was a banger section right there. Practice got nothing on the actual run.
So this section of the route, Water 3, has some routing changes that we didn't actually do. This route was discovered by a good friend of ours, Guggen Sully, who currently holds the world record for this game. And so we go up there, hit those 2 traps to expose this one, to hit that trap, and that exposes another path from 4 to 3 that lets you go to 2 by skipping a large part of 3. It also lets you pick up 2 extra bombs there, so it's faster and you have more resources. It's all around great. So now he's on the final floor of water. And this one, just like in fire, you need to hit 4 traps. This one has slightly less backtracking, but still a little bit. And some of the enemies on here can spawn in really unfortunate ways, so he'll be clearing stuff out for any of the sections that he has to backtrack. coming up as well, very soon here in the next dragon is a trick that is even harder than the fire dragon. It is just absolutely ridiculous. Oh, too late, so go ahead. Good luck.
I don't think I got any momentum there on that one. We'll see. Bango! First try!
Nice, nice.
Go ahead and explain that one.
Okay, so the reason that this is basically the same trick, so you're trying to set up the same 3-pixel window, but the reason it's so much harder is you're on ice. So not only do you have all of your inputs now have a bit of fuzziness to them because you are going to drift a little bit when you release them. When you trigger that cutscene, you might be on the correct pixel. It may look like you're in the right spot, but you have no way of knowing if you retained even just a little tiny point of momentum carrying you forward that's going to throw you off of your other inputs. So yeah, I don't even know how you managed to come up with a setup for that, but that is just ridiculous. Doing pixel perfect positioning in a tiny little precise window on ice. It's ridiculous. I tried this trick for like 10 hours after he was starting to get it consistent. I didn't get it even once. It's insane. But that is the last of the elemental towers, and that means that we are going to be heading back to the lobby for a bit of purchasing and whatnot, and then into Castle, which is the final section of the game. So in the lobby here, he's going to max out his shot power, put a few points into magic, and then for the first time in the game, he's going to buy HP. So from now on, I believe most of his points, if not all of them, will be going into HP. Because Castle assumes you have tons of HP. He also buys the Rune Sword for 14k, which is the important stats are it gives him +2 magic power and +4 shot power. So because he did not have a key coming out of water, he had to go into fire to grab a key. One thing that I was going to talk about earlier in the run but didn't really get to is some of the dynamic routing stuff that has to happen. A lot of the times you kind of have to handle things on the fly, where you can plan where you're planning on using things, but if there's if you accidentally hit a door or you know, a key is just not accessible for whatever reason, then you have to be able to adapt. Especially for bomb potions, but the keys here are a good example. If you don't have a key coming into Castle, it takes way longer. The gimmick tile in Castle is the Confuse tile, which he's already walked over some of. And the Confuse tile, it doesn't do anything if you just hold a directional input and walk over it. But if you are standing on a Confuse tile and you try to change your directional input, it adds a random 45-degree directional. Oh, you're already at the skip. I'm sorry. I'm way behind. This is a skip.
That skip comes courtesy of a Gauntlet 4 runner that did the game once back in 2014. If you're going fast enough that you get to that teleporter before it can scroll the intended one on screen, it will actually allow you to skip that entire floor as well as the entirety of Castle 1, which is easily a 5 or 6 minute time save.
Thank you. Where are you actually in time, by the way?
4 on the way back.
Okay. Okay, yeah, it just caught up. Not going for task strat, I see.
Of course not. This run is absolutely disgusting as far as PB goes. This is easily 3 minutes ahead.
Nice. Yeah, I wish I could see more of it. I'm sorry, I know my commentary has been a bit disjointed. There's a lot of things that I've been skipping over. He hits that trap right there. It's not actually required, but if he were to die, if he did not hit that trap, he would have to go all the way back down to 2 and back up again. That opens things up. So he's now approaching 7, which is the beginning of really the ending of Gauntlet 4. The stages. Oh, you're on. Oh yeah, this is 6 first. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. So here he's gonna go and grab some safety potions. So in Castle 9, we say you can pretty much safely do it with 5, but we're much more comfortable with 6 or 7. So he's going to load this screen a few times and grab enough potions so that he is confident that he's not going to have problems dealing with Castle 9. which is an extremely brutal stage. In fact, if you reach the end of Castle 9 and you do not have at least one bomb, you cannot complete it in the speedrun. We do not have enough health to actually finish it. So it is quite important. So here, now he's actually on Castle 7, and I can talk about it. I skipped one of my bullet points here. So the way Castle 7, 8, and 9 works is Castle 9 has 4 traps, just like the other 9s, but in order to hit them, they are in 4 separate sequestered areas that you cannot get to, like, you can't get to them from each other. You have to go up from 7 through 8 into 9, and then all the way back down to 7, and then take a different path up through 8 into 9, and for each of the different sections. So what he's doing here is he's going to clear out, he's going to hit the merchant up for a heal, and he's going to clear out the traps that he needs to hit on 7, so that he doesn't have to worry about them later, and then we'll start the journey into 9. So, entering Castle 8 as far as I can see now. He's going to pick up a key here. There's some key requirements that are pretty strict here, and are rather annoying. And he's headed towards the right quadrant. So there's 4 quadrants. Right, top, bottom, left. So he's headed towards the right one. Oh, got hung up on that wizard there a little bit. So each of these is going to look the same. There's a bunch of enemies, and he was able to kill all of them using those bombs because he grabbed several extras. And you need to go hit that and then leave. If you don't have bombs, those can take a very, very, very long time, especially because the enemies are very high level and don't like to cooperate with you. So now he's headed towards the left side, which the right side had grunts, the left side has wizards. Oh, you may notice he's speccing into health periodically. One of the mechanics of this game is when you purchase health points to your total, you automatically get that health for free. So if he has experience and he's able to purchase a few points of health, instead of using a heal potion, just to stretch that heal potion out just a little bit longer, then he's going to do that anytime that he can. So now he should be headed back the way he came, essentially. He's headed back towards 7, which requires backtracking through that diagonal corridor that he came through.
And hey, I actually have keys this time.
Yeah, nice.
We joke about the keys a lot because I tend to get short on keys sometimes, and it's not uncommon for me to be halfway through Castle and have to backtrack to find a key.
Which is why I mentioned that key. I wrote it in my notes. But yeah, no, the key and bomb routing is absurd. I don't even know all of it, and I also routed part of it, and I don't even know it. So he's going to hit the merchant here again. He'll have a couple opportunities to hit the merchant throughout all of this, and he's going to take every single one of them, because the game really just expects you to have a lot more health at this point. If we have just enough health to make it to and from the merchant to heal and rebuy a potion, or if we have enough health just buy a new potion if we had to heal earlier, then it's much faster than having to grind experience to level up your health. So now he's headed towards the bottom side of 9, which is the demon room. Through 8 again. This is a different path through 8. There's no way to cross between these paths. They're all isolated. So he'll hit that trap, get into 9. And sometimes these demon spawners can be really annoying and like to get in your way, but luckily all of the walls get cleared out from the middle. So yeah, almost done with Castle. He has one more trip to the Merchant that he can take, and that will be his last opportunity to visit the Merchant in Castle. And then the final trip to 9 to kill the ghosts. And with 2 potions remaining, he's in good shape. The ghosts will do 30 damage apiece to you, undamaged, and then I believe 15 damage apiece if you use 1 bomb. So with the number of ghosts that there are and the amount of health that we have maximum at this point, it's actually almost impossible to survive this without at least one bomb. But because he has 2, he can just clear it. He's also about to hit the last trap on floor 8. This is a mechanic that we don't see literally anywhere else in the run because we do so little of the traps. But if you clear all of the traps on a floor, all 4 of them, and then revisit that floor, none of the enemies spawn. So by hitting that 4th one now instead of later, the next time he comes back there won't be any enemies and it saves time.
Joke's on you, I'm using PB strats, I ate the ghosts.
Oh. Oh. You said you weren't gonna do that.
I did.
Nice though.
And then I was 3 minutes ahead.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, this has been an incredible run. We're coming up on the final dragon. There's a few differences. We won't be seeing a glitch. He has to fight it normally. And there are 4 crystals in the arena with the dragon. You have to shoot them to make them deactivate, and all 4 must be deactivated to damage the dragon. And the time they reactivate after an amount of time, and the timer is based on when you shot the first one. So you'll notice he's doing this left and right movement, and this is actually a little bit more precise and complicated than it looks. He's manipulating the dragon's attacks to guarantee that he knows what it's going to do and that he can dodge them. If you just come here and run around, the dragon's attacks are much harder to dodge.
I didn't get it.
Oh, did you go for the...
I went for the swag.
So there's a small strat here, which there's not really a reliable setup for yet, although Leracos and I are working on it, where if you phase transition the dragon, you can actually scoot yourself into the magic pixel during the phase transition, and if the crystals are also deactivated, then you get some free shots. But getting those 2 to line up and also getting the magic pixel while the timing lines up there's no real reliable setup for it yet, so you just kind of got to go for it and hope it works. It doesn't cost anything if you fail it. Might as well.
It almost cost me a run right there.
Oh, did it?
I almost ate the fireball.
Oh no. I don't know how behind I am. Oh, there's the fireball, I think. Yeah, there's the fireball. Okay, so I'm about 10 seconds behind. But yeah, coming up after this dragon, I'm going to say it now because I don't know when he's going to beat this dragon, is the single most important input in the game.
And the dragon's dead.
Very nice. He has to select no on this upcoming menu, or he gets bad ending and the run is invalidated. This is good ending category, so he must select no.
Alright, please just let me know for time.
There's a little bit left to go.
Okay.
We will let you know though.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, I did it. I didn't choke. I pushed no.
I guess you can explain the second gold, because I can't see it, so...
Okay, so the way goal 2 works here is it's going to start me instantly in front of him with no delay, so I'm going to pause buffer it, because his breath is still just as damaging, but it doesn't push me back now. None of his attacks actually do. So it is very possible to die there very quickly. Had to use a little bit of a backup strat to get into the breath there. What I do is I sidestep to the left so that the big fireball can't actually knock me out in one hit, and then I position myself in the magic pixel. We got it. We look good here. We got plenty of health left. This is a free fight.
Awesome.
Time will be coming up after I talk to the merchant and the screen turns black.
When you go out the gate in the bottom.
And merchant's very, very talky here. He's asking why I didn't take the gift of eternal youth from the castle. You know, that seems like something that would be great to have. But if you actually do take it, you end up becoming the dragon. And you get stuck there. And that's time.
Very nice. What was
that felt like an excellent time. What did we end up with?
4240.
4240 is actually a PB with Valkyrie. If you can believe that or not.
Wow.
That is a super good run. Thank you very much.
yeah, that was fantastic.
Well, I guess we're going to do shout-outs and stuff now.
Oh, yeah.
I want to thank the organizers here at Blast Process for having us. It's been a great run. Numbers, you got anything to add?
Yeah, we've got. I really didn't have time, even in the notes that I wrote down, to hit on a lot of the technical details of this run. There's lots of little things too. If anybody's curious, I am on Discord. We have a Gauntlet Discord for the Gauntlet community. I'll be around for a few hours after the run if anybody has questions.
Yeah, and you can just PM either of us either time on Twitch or on Discord, and we can get you an invite to that Gauntlet server if you're interested in running into this series. Right now, it's just me and Googie and Sully that are doing Gauntlet 4, so it would be great to get some expansion into our community.
Yeah, the speedrun's only about a year old, and the amount that it's like evolved over that year is insane.
It is incredible.
It's an absurdly complicated game to route.
I've rerouted it 3 times now in the past year, and it still just keeps getting better and better, so I'm extremely proud of this today. Thanks for having me, and I think we're going to sign off now, unless you've got something else.
All right, yeah, just real quick, the pleasure's ours, and a special thank you to you two for giving us your time and putting on this great performance.
Oh, of course, anytime.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you.
I'm really sorry about the RTMP server issues. I had no idea that was going on. Everything was coming in okay on the stream, so that's good. I mean, the PB video is there, and it's crystal clear. So
yeah,
everything,
the quality resolved by about 3/4 of the way through the run, but the delay didn't go away.
I mean, it wouldn't be a marathon without technical issues, right, guys? Come on.
That's very true. That is very true.
Exactly.
That is
We're
very
doing this
true.
from all over the world. The fact that it manages to stay together this good is a blessing. So
and it's great to actually just get some people to be able to see this game, because nobody knows about it. And it's a really awesome game. So thank you so much for having us. That was a lot of fun.
All right. So coming up next on Blast the Process 2, we have more Sonic. We have the Sonic scientist himself, Chrism, with a Sonic Chaos. Tails beat the game. Stick around. Enjoy the music.